Julius is ready for his Thursday. All right, I love it. I love it. Somebody want to share something to get us started? It's doing good in your world. Well, yesterday, I got to participate in the Marshmallow Challenge, which is a fun little challenge to do if you've never done it before. It could be something fun for the holidays if you're getting together with family. But it basically you can Google it, but you get some spaghetti, you get some marshmallows, some tape, and some string, and you see how high of a structure that you can build that can still support the marshmallow. So had a lot of fun doing it, and I don't know, just thought it'd be something nice little icebreaker if you got some family time coming up. Lauren.
I just thought it was interesting. I was telling my kids about it because I loved that yesterday and how much fun we had with it. And my youngest daughter said that they did that in school like 2 years ago. Um, and so I like asked her a couple questions, and she said that everybody had structures that stood. And I thought that's super interesting after like watching the video, um, and like the mentality behind it. That really the kids that are little were able to all put structures together when we weren't.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting how the minds develop and the constraints that kind of come around what you think you're capable of as we get into this crazy world. Well, who's got some real estate going on? Hopefully, you guys are dialing, having conversations. You know, starting stuff on DMs. What do we got going on in our worlds? Margareta.
Morning all. I've mentioned this before. I have this sober house, insurance issues, and I've never seen anything like this. Lender who's been around forever says they never seen anything around this. I have an uninsured house. I have a mortgage contingency. Obviously, everything's fine financially. I have a house that cannot get insured, but I really feel that the seller has shot himself in the foot. And I just want to bring this up to people, some newer ones maybe not recognize this. Do not send inspection report to your insurance people. Your inspection report is for the seller. I'm sorry, for the buyer. And you obviously, like there's so many little things in that there that like, when insurance people look at it like, oh, well, this house is shit. Well, it's not because you're not in it. And one thing I just don't understand, I was saying, well, because when they see an inspection report, I mean, a house from 1900, what do you expect? But it's actually in fantastic shape when you're in it. And there's no major issues really. It just there might be some water stains. It's a house from 1900s, so it's just this is gonna
I want to,
probably I
Margareta.
don't even know what to go with it.
I want to circle back to the insurance. So they gave you that sober home place. They recommended a couple of people that typically insure these, and those people said no.
Yes, so they're actually the only ones that are capable of insuring it, and they would have been fine with it. But I think once they saw the inspection report, they're like, "Oh, this is uninhabitable." I'm like, "It's people live in it. It's actually
Right.
not that bad at all." So I think that inspection report just gave them this notion. I even said, "Well, do you mind having an inspector?" This is I don't understand. Why does insurance give you insurance policy, but then they send an inspector? Instead of sending inspector before they give you the policy to inspect the house. I'm like, so I said,
Yeah, well,
can you have somebody come in?
I think it would just take too long to do it the other way. It's going to slow down the process. People are trying to buy homes, get insurance, and the time that it's going to take to get somebody out there to look at the property. I just don't think that that's feasible. So that's my guess as to why. And then I just don't think they have the resources to do it. A lot of these insurance companies, as far as sending people out, ahead of time. But I'm curious, like, is it literally like the buyer still wants to move forward and we're just hung up on the insurance? Because again, that like a Lloyd's of London, they'll insure anything. There's nothing that's not insurable. It's just
So
the price.
we did go that way. So they were actually involved with one of the policies for the current owners, and they wouldn't insure it either. It's like no, but I mean, and it's not for lack of trying. I think
Yeah.
I mean, the sober house people, they had like access to 30 different insurance companies. Then, like I think they were the best match for it. It just, the conclusion was that, the house, based on perspective at this point for insurance, is so bad. They can only insure it for like a contractor insurance. So people would have to leave the house and it would have to be repaired and then maybe brought back in, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Lauren.
Does your client intend to and intentionally purchasing for purpose of keeping it as sober living as well? Was that like
Yes.
the draw to it for them?
Yes,
Interesting.
they wanted to keep it because it generated great income. It's an investment opportunity, and that was the goal.
So what if they were to move on from the fact of it being sober living specifically and just some other type of like short-term rental? I wonder if you were to remove that specific whatever demograph or verbiage attached to it, if there would be something that could be done, right? So like, why
Repackaging
could
it.
it not be like travel nurses or something to that effect? I wonder.
I can approach that because I was my first, well, the way I approached it initially was saying, well, consider like Airbnb kind of thing. Can we get that kind of insurance for it? It's harder, but it's doable. But I think at this point there were so many insurance companies that we approach. I think overall we talked to like maybe 80 companies in general. I mean, through several brokers of that. And like they're like, I think because this guy, the buyer, is trying to be so transparent, he's sending this inspection report. And it's creating this consideration that it's like, oh, this is terrible. And it's not. So I think, that it's going to probably fall apart. It's going to have to buy either by cash without loan, and technically not be a sober house anymore going forward for an investor.
Yeah, or some sort of a rehab loan or something. Margaretta's, maybe can get the job done.
Yeah. But I think the biggest caveat to this thing is, and I told this guy not to do it, don't send your inspection reports to lenders, insurance companies. Not a good thing.
So let's change topics. Does somebody have something else that they're dealing with that they want to share with the group? I just jotted down another topic here of, and we've been having this happen quite a bit. Signed buyer's contract and find out that the buyers have gone under agreement with somebody else, or they've even closed with somebody else. And so what do we do? Right. And I think this is going to happen more and more. But we've had this happen a couple of times where we've taken action. And it's just seemingly yesterday, with our Zillow leads team, they kind of gave some eye-opening statistics about how many. I think we received 130 leads this year that went under contract, not with us. So the lead came to one of our agents, and we had first crack at it, and they bought with somebody else in this calendar year, something along those lines for numbers, which is obviously a testament to how bad we are as an organization or just our industry at follow-up. So when we talk about CRM mastery for 2025, like this has really got to be a focus. But in looking back, where I'm kind of coming back to here is a bunch of these people we had buyer's contracts with. Right. And so, part of it is, KB, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, finish and then I'll just say
So,
something
I mean,
interesting.
the approach that we've used in the past is just literally you're calling up the client and saying, hey, it's my understanding that you're now under agreement on another property. Just want to let you know that, we did have an agreement. And you're now, I don't know what you've signed with the other agent, but as far as our contract goes, you're still under contract and you're going to owe both of us. So at that point, if you can catch it during the deal, you can typically work out some sort of a referral fee or something between the two agents that are involved. If it happens that you find out afterwards, now it's just going to be, is the buyer going to own up to it? And if not, you're going to have to take legal action. So depending obviously on the size of the commission, is it going to be worth legal action? So we've done both of these. We've done it where we've negotiated like a 50-50 referral fee, 50% when we found out. We have done it both ways where the client actually still ends up working with our agent, and we give out the referral fee. We've done it where the buyer works with the other agent and we receive the referral fee. And then we've gone post-closing. We've just had some clients own up and say, hey, you know what? You're right. You got me. I'll pay. And we've had others say, nope, I'm not paying. We've gone down the legal road. Once they get a letter from an attorney, things started to change. So we've gotten paid in full. We've negotiated 50-50 post, right? So they said, hey, look, I get it. I understand that I owe you. Would you take half? Would you take 75%? So we've seen a bunch of these different scenarios. So just be aware of kind of what your options are. Katie?
Yeah, so I started looking at them yesterday and I haven't dug deep into any of them, but two of the ones that I kind of dug deep into, one of them, we had a buyer contract. The buyer contract's still valid. The client had reached out to the agent saying that they had a financial issue and something going on with their family and they weren't going to be purchasing a home. And then 30 days later, they closed on a house with another agent. So that one, pretty cut and dry, right? The other one that we have, I haven't looked in to see what the dates were on the buyer contract, but one of the things that I found interesting about every single one of these things is every single one of them were in showing homes in our CRM. So we use Follow Up Boss, and in our CRM, they're set as showing homes, meaning they're actively working with that person. But the other one, they hadn't had a conversation with that person in like 6 weeks. That was like the last time they actually spoke to that person. So they weren't actually actively showing them homes. It seems like they were being more of a set it and forget it agent, right? And they're just waiting for this person to reach out to them and tell them that they want to show them a home. So I think it's very, very important when you're looking at your database and when you guys are doing this database review going into 2025, if you're showing someone a home and if you're actively working with someone, you need to be constantly in front of them, either checking in with them, making sure that their goals haven't changed, sending them some piece of value that they're not able to find for themselves, because being a set it and forget it agent in 2025 is not going to work for you, and they are going to move on. So that was just a huge takeaway for me, and I think it's really important to know as you're going into 2025 and really going through your database.
Yeah, and this isn't just leads, guys. This is your sphere as well. We've got set it and forget it agents when it comes to, uh, we've got agents that, they've closed 100 sales, let's say, right? And they're not getting repeat and referral clients out of those 100 people. Why not? Right? Because they did an amazing job. They were a rock star agent, rave reviews, got a testimonial, never touch base with them again. Like, if you're not in conversation, you're not going to get the conversions. That's the business that we're in. So whether it's you're locked in on your CRM or you're locked in on social media and you're DMing people and you're talking to people there, you've got to be in conversation. That's the business. Because they're going to get into conversation with somebody else. So this isn't, I don't want this to people to think this is just a leads thing. This is a sphere thing just as much as it is a leads thing. And I know when we look at people's CRMs, they're a mess. If it's a slower time right now, please take the time to get your database right, to make sure everybody's in there. If they're a past client, you've got the close date, you've got their address, they're set up on some sort of a HomeBot type of a product, where they're getting the valuations on their properties, and that you have a way to reach out to them. When we talk about these monthly giveaways, like we don't do this just for ha-has, right? Monthly giveaways, it allows a reason for you to reach out. Hey, I wanted to let you know about this thing. Send the email. it's a touch point. So I hope you guys take this serious, both for leads and for Sphere, because it can really change your business if you get this one thing right. Anybody have any questions on, buyer contracts and the whole scenario that I just kind of laid out there? Anybody dealing with something that they just have a question on with regards to, hey, I got a contract and I just found out they, went under agreement, or, and I guess the other thing is, like, for the person, KB said, hey, they said they had financial issues. Like, that doesn't mean you just toss that. Like, try and stay in sort of some conversation. Oh, sorry to hear about that. Do you want me to get in touch with one of our lenders so we can figure out what the rehabilitation project is going to be? How are we going to get this credit back to a place? And then maybe something else would have come out of that. Well, actually, our credit isn't that bad, but we were at Thanksgiving and we ran into a family member and they'd just gotten their license, and we're actually kind of wanting to work with that. Right? Oh, okay. Hey, look, I totally get it, but I do have some time into this. Why don't I reach out to that agent? Let's just see if we can work out a referral fee. Just work out something. Right? We don't want to lock these people in like they could never ever use somebody else. Right? Stuff does happen. Maybe something came up. Maybe they met somebody or they feel obligated to somebody else. But just if you're in the conversations, it just opens these things up. Questions or comments? All right, a couple of pieces of news that I wanted to share. I'll put it up on the screen, one of these. So there is a company called Picasso, which allows you to do a partial ownership in properties, vacation rentals specifically. And so they came out and did a ranking of America's hottest real estate markets for higher end vacation homes, which I just thought was interesting, because we got a lot on the East Coast. So number one was Cape May County in New Jersey. So that is kind of that Jersey Shore area. They had 150% increase in the vacation rental stuff. The way they ranked this was increase in second home activity. So how many second homes do you have in the market? The proportion of second homes to primary homes, and the demand for properties priced above 700,000. That's how these rankings went. So Cape May County, New Jersey was number one. Gulf County, so that's the Panhandle down in Florida, that 30A region. I think Walton County is the same. I think those are kind of next to each other up there. So Walton County, Florida, but Barnstable County, so right here in Massachusetts, that's Cape Cod and the islands. And then the fifth one was Collier County in Florida. So that is also in the Panhandle. So the Panhandle is hot, Florida people. I know KB does. KB has her.
Told you,
has her
it's
skate.
insane up there.
Yeah, she has. You have your big skate conference down there, right? Or your skate tournament, or
Oh yeah. Gotta get a rental property down there because it's insane. Cheap.
Yeah, it's crazy because it looks like 3 counties. So that was number one. Second thing, a little bit more relevant to just day-to-day business, was that the Federal Reserve did a Fed funds interest rate cut yesterday by 0.25%. So I brought the target rate to somewhere between 4.25% and 4.5% of what they're looking for. And I want to make sure when you guys hear that they cut interest rates, right? I want to make sure everybody's very clear that does not mean that they, mortgage rates went down. Okay, when you hear that the Fed cut the interest rates, what they're talking about is the federal funds rate. So this is the rate that banks can lend each other money. And it's not necessarily tied to interest rates. It's tied more towards short-term debt, like credit cards. You might see credit card interest rates change. So that's the first thing, is they cut the rate. So inflation concerns still remain. So that is why they have forecasted for 2025. Previously, they said they were going to cut rates 4 times in 2025 for a full point, which would have brought rates down into the fives. And kind of what they said in yesterday's release here is two Fed fund rates cuts for about 0.5%. So most likely we're still going to be in the sixes in 2025. Kind of some of the stuff that they said around it was the labor market is cooling. Described the economy as in a good starting place, but the stock markets reacted negatively to the news, dropping over 1,100 points. And it just says, yeah, consumers adjusting to higher mortgage rates, jobs and inventory will play a key role in driving home sales moving forward. So I think, everything that I'm seeing, 2025 will be a little bit better, but not dramatically. Latest things I've seen is, we're going to finish out a little over 4 million sales, and they're talking about like 4.1 next year. So that's not a huge increase, and it doesn't look like, you're going to see rates get anything kind of crazy. So you are seeing some more inventory. Obviously, we're feeling that, and that's affecting the day to day, and it should give buyers a little bit more breathing room. But just make sure you know what's going on with rates. Anybody have any questions on that stuff? Cool. I got time for probably one more topic. What do you guys have? What's gnawing at you? What questions do you have? Steve.
So I know we have people that are on the team, or I don't know if everybody does, the transaction coordinators, which are amazing. And there's a fee associated with that. I think if you can refresh my memory, I got so many things in my brain right now. That's going to be disclosed on our buyer's agreement now. Is that correct? It's going to kind of like disclose that when we're filling out that paperwork. And what's the approach? Yep.
Yeah, I think you want to disclose everything that you can up front. I know some agents still like the disclosures that we used to use, and they'll probably continue to do the disclosures. So if you still wanted to do disclosures and disclose there, you could absolutely do that. You can put it right into your buyer's agreement. Hey, here's what I charge, and then I do have an administrative fee of X, whatever you're looking to put in there. So yeah, you could do it either way. We are going to build it into those buyer's agreements. But you could do it via a disclosure if you like those old disclosures that we used to use. I know some agents really like them, and I believe KB that we've got them rebranded so that people could use them again. That accurate? You're muted if you're trying to talk. I don't know, Lauren, can somebody comment? Have we rebranded those disclosures?
I can't confirm for sure. I know it was being worked on. I can double check and.
Yeah. So either way, Steve, if you like the old way of doing it via disclosure and you like those disclosures, you feel comfortable using that with your clients, you can do that. And if you want to put it into buyer's agreements, you could do it that way too. Anybody else? What is on your mind?
Yeah,
Steve,
the buyers. I don't know what's going on. My phone is not unmuting, but yes. So all of the buyers' disclosures have been rebranded. They're in the master docs. Well, the general disclosure, and then the transaction fee has been added to the buyer contract as well as listing contract.
So either way you want to do it. All right, let's see what we got for training available. If we got anything fun today. So we got the new agent starter series, Facebook ads. That's an interesting one. I know for agents not on the team, maybe you're looking to get some new lead sources. For those of you guys that are using Lofty, I know they have something built in to be similar to our Follow Up Boss and Ylopo combo. I've actually heard some good stuff about the Lofty lead program and the AI that can come along with the Lofty CRM. So, I guess just in general, if you're in, doing business, you're a full-time agent, you're trying to thrive in 2025, you've got to have a CRM that you have mastered. It's going to be more and more difficult as times go and the tech keeps stacking up. I think that's the other thing. These CRMs, they're keeping tabs on what the latest tech is and trying to integrate it into their platforms. So, if you're not a tech forward agent, I just think that every month, every year that goes by, it's just going to be more and more difficult to compete. But Facebook ads, the Build Mastermind, Real Agent Society Weekly. I don't know what this one is. What's this one all about? Take some of the greatest nonfiction. Oh, yeah. This was like a book society. That's a different kind of a thing. Interesting. Conversations to closings. I mean, this is one, guys, that are super critical, especially when we talk about how many deals, that I know that we missed, and I'm sure most agents are missing. So this is going to be something that we as an organization are really going to be focused on, is what are the different conversations that you can be having to help with your conversion ratios. And then there is a systems and tools class. So yeah, plenty of opportunities for you guys to go out there, build the skills. Remember the triangle, guys, right? I always think there's just 3 pieces to the triangle. There's your effort, there's your skill set, and there's opportunities, right? If any one of those 3 is lacking, you're not going to be successful in real estate, right? I can't tell you how many agents, they feel like they're putting in the effort, right? And they're working hard every day. They don't have the right opportunities and they don't have the skills to be successful, right? And then we've got other people that are, in training all the time. They take all the classes, they come to all of our trainings. So, right, they've got the skills, no opportunities, not talking to enough people. So they're putting in the effort, doing the training, right? But if you don't have anybody to talk to, right? So just make sure we got all 3 sides of that triangle humming for 2025. And we're going to be in good shape. So appreciate you guys. Good Thursday. Go out, crush it, and we'll do it one more time tomorrow, Finance Friday. Also, just want to put a plug in there, and Lauren, always remind me, if you want your pipeline reviewed, right? If you are using a CRM, but you don't feel like your skills are good enough on your follow-up, you don't have the right hooks, the right bait to kind of throw out there and re-engage your clients. We're getting great feedback on this training that Lauren runs. She runs it every Thursday. Is it right here at 9:00, Lauren? Do you jump right off of this?
We're hopping right on there right now.
Right now, right? And she, you can see, we're going to just open up somebody's CRM. We're going to take a look at the lead and go, all right, what have you done to stay in touch with this person, right? And it's the same, again, it's not just for leads. You can do the same stuff for your sphere. What are you doing to re-engage, to stay in front of, to get those conversations going? So, Lauren, you want to do anything to plug your own training?
Yeah. So after yesterday's meeting and everybody kind of hearing the losses that we had and finding out that a majority of those were the fact that they related to a stage of nurture, we are going to be focusing on those nurture stage people today, ensure that they're really there, getting communication that they need, and we're not just forgetting about them. Maybe there's some that we need to update, and making sure that we have follow-up plans for anybody that is nurture, because oftentimes it is a set it and forget it, kind of our own trash within our CRM when we put somebody into that nurture stage. So that's going to be our focus today.
Awesome. So, she's doing her training via the Follow Up Boss platform, but it's going to work for any CRM. Like just you can just look at what texts are they sending, how are they sending properties, what emails are they sending, what are the drip campaigns that are set up, and you can build it out in your own CRM. So, although she's doing the training live in a Follow Up Boss platform, it works for anything. So if this is something that you're struggling with, definitely attend that training. She does it every single Thursday. I think it's one of the best trainings that's available in the real estate space. So we've been seeing a lot of progress from agents that are attending that and just learning a tip, a trick, or whatever, right? We might even see, she might open up a lead that's actually had a good follow-up approach. So you might go, oh, that's kind of cool how they did that, they did this, etc. Right? So it's not just on mistakes. We're going to see some great wins in there as well. So All right, I'm babbling. Appreciate you guys. Go crush your Thursday. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Finance Friday.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.